You can rock and roll with so much soul. You can rock till you're 101 years old. Morning roundup. Here's how you know this is an authentic show right here. I saw this waving around. I'm like, oh, the tube connector didn't, it gave out or something. No, look at this. I just didn't screw it in enough and it somehow became loose. And that's how Scully Boy got ruined. Okay. Name another YouTube 3D printing channel that would show you a stupid mistake they made like that. Nobody would. But anyway, Einstein can. Coffee cup. Okay, here's a fun one right here. This, of course, is the mutant alien slug. We have sold, I think this is the third one. Got another David, Big David here, and of course, alligator skull. And an Einstein in a pear tree. Okie doke. We're getting coffee, and then we're taking photos of this boy. Really quite nice day out, very pleasant. Man, more things should be pleasant in life. Like, why don't we just have like really pleasant things all the time? Everything's always so dramatic. Like dramatically bad, dramatically good. Why aren't things just like pleasant? More things. We dunking up in here. Fresh, squeezed, free range dunk. I was just thinking about how Peter Criss, the original drummer for Kiss, basically just started getting drunk so much that he couldn't even play, and they had to kick him out. And then like probably their most successful era, at least financially, was after that. Like, how stupid would you feel if that was you? There really is a lot of value in becoming the kind of person that does not waste opportunities. It's kind of a basic thing to say, but like, it's important to realize Peter Criss, before the band blew up, was already the kind of person that was going to squander that incredible opportunity. So you kind of have to decide beforehand that you're not that kind of person and work to become a person who actually capitalizes on good things that happen to you. But for some reason lately, we've been having to do a lot of work on the S5s. I don't know why, but we're gonna have to replace this whole hot end. This gave me a whole bunch of this morning. Very stringy, very unnatural. But yeah, the point at which, like, basically this hot end is just giving me all kinds of problems, and we're just nuking it from space. It's the only way to be sure. Got a couple of replacement hot ends. One is gonna go on the printer I just showed you, and another one we're going to resurrect another one of the S5s that's been acting up, and again, we're just nuking it from space. Oh yeah. See, I should have remembered this at Dunkin' Donuts. We sold a donut. We sold our first donut. There was probably some really funny joke to be said at Dunkin'. But yeah, M3 is in the donut game. So yeah, one of the reasons we got to get these S5s working, because we're selling a bunch of big stuff. Big food selling, guitar stuff that needs, you know, this needs to be printed on S5. All this stuff is like blowing up, and we got to get these little jokers working. Yeah, you can see it's all leaky and stuff. You can fix this, but by the time things are worn enough that it's doing this, I just replaced the whole thing. Just heating up the bed, then hopefully this guy will actually behave. All right, looks like it's putting down a decent first layer. Yeah, I think it's gonna be all right. Like I said, big stuff's really selling, so we are going to be resurrecting this one. Now, I don't even remember what the extruder was doing here. I don't know why I'm pointing. It's like over there. I don't even remember what the extruder was doing, but I just remember being super frustrated with this thing. And it had something to do with the extruder. And there's a partial first layer that's really patchy on the bed. So we are, like I said, going nuclear. These hot ends are only 20 bucks a piece. And like, you could screw with something for 2 or 3 hours or even an hour, or you just pay 20 bucks and just wipe the slate clean. It's like slice the Gordian knot. Sometimes that's what you want to do. We're gonna raise up the Z-axis because it was a little close to the bed, so we can also kind of maneuver around it. Something else I'm doing, since we've had a few annoying big prints get messed up, we're checking diameters a little more often, just to make sure that we're not getting a crazy amount of variance in the filament. Because even if it looks good, but you're only checking like once an hour, it can go through times where it's getting real thick. Once it starts getting thick, the inside of the PTFE tubes, the Bowden tubes, just start getting like a little bit snaggy. Then you get under extrusion. Next thing you know, something big is messed up. So yeah, if that kind of thing happens and you're making filament, just check a little more often. Really hard to do this one-handed, but it's just like that. Yep. As you can see, you have to get it really straight on, but 7.9, 7.5. See, that's why doing this two-handed is what you want to do, but it looks like it's a little too thick. So we are going to speed up the spooler. Yep, just a little bit. Anyway, let's get the replacement hot end here. Now, I kind of recommend this for everybody. These socks regulate the temperature of the hot end, but you'll notice they have this cone thing on it. And I like to just snip that off, because all too often, you know, all it takes is some little stringing or something that catches the strings, and then your thing gets jolted out of position. So I just snip the cone thing right off with, you know, those things. And it still regulates the temperature of the hot end just fine. It's just an annoying thing that they put on these socks that's frankly pretty unnecessary. Here's a solid tip too. Most of the time, everything is tightened up like it should be. And this is not going to come across very well in photo or in video, but this is loose. And you do not want to mount a loose hot end on your printer. So we're going to tighten these guys up. Now it's nice and snug, and those screws really were super loose. But yeah, so you don't even need that little cone thing. Like, there's really no reason. It's just stupid design. But yeah, that's ready to go. All right, I think this first layer is going good. Okie dokie, let's package this dolphin. Got the coffee cup we photographed yesterday, and this is the product of the day. Bam, 2 for 2. 2 for Tuesday. And we got an alligator skull. Let's get tiny little gray boy packaged. Let's get the yellow octo on its way. We've been making a bunch of filament. We're about to get some pictures of the car, but I realized I've got a rant in me. Something I was listening to just reminded me of something back in the living on the streets days. At a certain point, I kind of purposefully developed a very, very strong work ethic. Of course, the reason was because, like, you know, I was in such a bad situation. The only thing I could really think of was to try to work my way out of it, which I essentially did. But it was really exhausting. It wasn't just exhausting because I was working a lot. It was also exhausting because I essentially never really slept during that 4 years. I mean, I kind of did, but if, you know, at the point at which even when you're sleeping in your car, it's still very, very hot or very, very cold a lot of the time. So I guess one question you could have asked yourself, that I did ask myself in that situation, is like, well, what's the point of doing any of this? Because especially after a few years of, I mean, working 80 hours a week, 70 hours a week. At one point I was working 2 full-time delivery jobs. And it's not that I wasn't making progress, but it just seemed like, honestly, what's the point of doing any of this? And the best answer I could come up with at that time was like, well, what else are you gonna do? Like, not working hard isn't gonna work, so this is like the only option, really. It was literally just like, well, what even would the alternative be? I didn't have like a great rationale. It's more like I'm just spoiled for choice, and like, why wouldn't I just work my ass off? You know, all things being considered, that was a good enough answer for back then. I would say with the benefit of hindsight now, I've come up with a much more complete, holistic, satisfying reason why you should work hard even when it doesn't seem like it's gonna pay off that much. Learning to be the kind of person who works hard as a habitual thing, it's like revving the engine of a car. If you imagine you're in a muscle car or something, or you don't even know what kind of car you're in, let's say, and you're just revving that engine and you hear it roar, but you're not going anywhere, and it's like, well, what's the point of doing this? Like, why are we doing this? If you didn't know better, revving that engine and hearing it rev and just make a bunch of noise, you'd be very tempted to think, I don't know why I'm doing this, because we're never gonna go anywhere. You're revving, but then somewhere in the middle of that, you start messing with the controls and the knobs and stuff, and you accidentally throw it in gear while you're revving. In one magical instant, you went from making a bunch of noise and doing a whole lot of nothing to laying out some effing rubber on the road. That's why you want to learn how to rev the engine, right there. That's why you want to learn how to be the kind of person who works hard as a habitual lifestyle. What happened to me very quickly was I went from a guy who delivered sandwiches to a guy that printed dinosaurs and all kinds of 3D printed items. And I was already completely willing to basically work every second of the day if I needed to. As soon as I dropped into gear, which somebody was just doing outside, ironically, as soon as I popped that thing into gear, I started making money. I started making a bunch of money. I started listing a bunch of things. It's one of the great challenges of life. If you can learn to be disciplined when it's not paying off, you're gonna be really disciplined when it starts paying off. But you're probably not gonna get to the point where it actually pays off without doing it for a long time while it's not. There's a verse I think about a lot, and I thought about it a lot during this early process. He who loses his life shall find it. Now, of course, that has a profound spiritual meaning and stuff, but it has a pretty universal meaning. Like, you may feel like you don't have a life for a while, but then after a while, you're gonna find it. You're gonna find your life, but you have to lose it first. An entrepreneur is somebody who will live like no one will, so later they can live like no one can. Got a guitar luthier rest. Mailman. All right, I've been trying to get around to this all day, but it is time, finally, for the blue car. We count only blue cars. Finally get this Muppet out the door. Oh, so many layers. Now that guy's a little joker right there. We made a whole bunch of Philly today, and it is Tuesday, so that means it's Taco Tuesday. We getting dollar tacos, yeah. It's important. Dude, I get irrationally excited for these tacos. Oh yeah. All right, I'm sitting here at the window, and we just sold one of the guitar octos, and it's the one that we're advertising. So it's likely from the ads that we're running, which is super cool. Man, we gonna be cranking out these guitar octos. Yeah, I checked the Etsy ads tab on the app. I checked the app, and yes, that was the first sale of the octo due to ads. The best tacos in the world are from places that look just like this. And this little guy thinks he's gonna get one. No, it's a slumber party. Bag secured. And by bag secured, I mean bag secured. Oh yeah, we're doing it. Guys will be like, I know a spot, and then take you here. Redistribute the onions, cebolla. So spicy. Oh man, every time those tacos just lay me out. So good. Well, we got pictures of the car, got all the printers printing, got everything squared away. It is time. Oh yeah, and this guy is printing good, so that is nice. Oh, scoot over. Man, I already know what I'm grateful for, and it's them tacos. It's just so good. You guys, maybe you guys are really lucky. Maybe some of you out there understand. But having a place that has dollar tacos twice a week, it's a blessing that cannot be measured. For the tacos I give of you, none shall hunger. I'm definitely super grateful for that. Also this week we rehabbed 2 of the S5s because the big stuff is really selling. And they're both printing good. The tank might be done tomorrow or the day after that. It's a long print. And the new Sharky that was printing on the one we just looked at, it's looking fine. So that's good. We got a lot of big things to make. Man, I'm really grateful that the Guitar Octo campaign thing sold. It would just be so clutch if one of those Guitar Octos sold every day. Or at least like, man, it'd be so good if they just sold like 3 or 4 a week. That would be huge. 3 or 4 Guitar Octos per week is like more than enough to pay my rent, just on top of whatever we would have made. So that would be cool. I guess last thing I'm really grateful for, I'm grateful for a lot of things today, but we took pictures of the blue car, as you guys know, and we already had our product for the day, but we'll probably list the car in blue tomorrow, and that'll be 3 for the week, which is the minimum. Then everything else is just gravy on top of that. And when you really, I know I always say this, but when you really like post stuff every day or almost every day, it gets people's attention. 2 weeks ago, I had one of the biggest weeks of sales I've ever had in the history of the entire business, outside of Christmas. And I think that was one of the weeks that I listed 6 or 7 products for the week, so almost every day. It really gets attention. It's just a very good feeling. Like the red guitar car has gotten tons of clicks for the amount of, it's like 2 or 3 days or whatever it's been. I think it's been 2 days. It's getting mad traffic. Just makes me think I could make a whole bunch of things like that. We could just make like, we could not only just make other cars, we can make other kinds of vehicles. We could make like a speedboat. Like there's gotta be some speedboat guys that play guitar out there. I really think with the big shelf style wall guitar stands, I feel like I need to find a better way of saying that. For the big guitar holders, wall holders, whatever we're gonna call them, I might end up needing to actually find more S5s because there are designs that I can do on smaller printers, but they're just not gonna look as cool and they're not gonna be like as click worthy. You gotta have things that are click worthy. So yeah, we've got sort of 8. We really got 7. There's one that's just really inconsistent. So we'll figure out when we get close to maxing that out and then maybe look for other S5s. It's pretty hard to find them, but if you're willing to drive 3 or 4 hours, especially if you live in a place like Texas, oftentimes you'll find one around. And sometimes people sell them on eBay, but I like to be able to see them in person and make sure they're not super screwed up. Well, anyway, let's get into some commentios. Join the Discord, link below. Got a bunch today. Made in the Spider Shed. I guess I've seen that name before. This is in the comments and questions section. Join the Discord. You'd be much cooler if you did. Made in the Spider Shed. On the repaint, how about a Bowie-inspired Thunderbolt on the hood? Ooh, that's pretty cool. Man, it would be cool to do some decals. See, the thing is, you'd have to tape it off and then cut it with a razor knife, really, to get it to look good. I don't know about a Bowie Thunderbolt. It'd be hella cool, don't get me wrong. But they're probably, I should think of some kind of like shapes or something that you could put on the hood. It would be pretty easy to do. I don't know. maybe something will occur to me. Something I really thought about doing though is white with like a blue racing stripe, like those old school ones that go down this way. I think we might do that with the car at some point. It's hard not to do a racing stripe on something that basically looks like a Camaro. Dash Render says, I was thinking that if the car takes off, it might be worth designing some paint templates and printing them that you could reuse. Something like wheel covers that block most of the paint. Then you just have to tape edges. It would save time. Yeah, that's probably what I would do if I had to make a bunch of them. You would still need tape. See, like in the early days, I did some stuff like that, like with stencils or things that fit over other things to block paint. And the thing is, like, if you do that 100 times or even 10 times, even a couple times, you start getting little flakes of the old colors on there. And then it's like, are you gonna paint the thing? Are you gonna print a thing each time or almost every other time? But to block most of it, something like that probably would work. Yeah, I guess I never thought about combining tape and doing the pre-printed stencil thing. So it's a pretty good idea, solid idea. Toasty O's, over here on the East Coast, I used to listen on the way to work. Now they don't land until lunch. I'm grateful to have listed 2 new products this week with more to come. Hey, 2 in a week ain't bad. I'm telling you, man, get the whiteboard. Dollar store is gonna save your life. Mopar Dudes. I had to change up my watching the show since it's coming on later. It was my morning routine for a little over 6 months now. Wow. Can't believe it's already been 6 months. Dang. And now I'm watching at dinner time. I've been watching you since episode 3. Yeah, Mopar Dudes is one of the original. He's the OG. I don't know if he's the OG, but he's as close to the OG as I can think of. I think it was, and episode 3, I think it was. It's been very encouraging, and thank you, sir. I'm going to open up my Etsy store next month, and it's only because of watching you every day, sir. What a G. I do like getting those messages that are like, I opened up an online store, or I started selling at my local fair or festival because of you. I don't even know what to say about that. It is kind of moving. It's even more moving if you actually make some mookie doing it. But yeah, Mopar Dude, you're one of the best. BJP Man was wondering about you making your own filament. Is it worth it to do, or is it a lot of work? Well, it is worth it. You can be very confident that I would say it's worth it to do because I am doing it. I would say, I've said this before, it's worth it to do if you need a lot of filament. Like at the point at which you're really doing it full time, it's a real journey. Like some of the print failures you've seen lately, I'm not 100% sure, but I think may have been slight inconsistencies in diameters. And I checked a bunch today and it looks like all the rolls were gonna be good, but it's a lot of work, even when you've been doing it for like 4 or 5 years or whatever I've done. But yeah, after a while, it becomes very routine and you don't even think about it anymore. Checking diameters, making sure you got plastic in the hoppers and stuff. Plus, there's just all the tweaking. You can't even imagine how much tweaking there is with temperatures. But it all becomes routine and eventually it's extremely worth it. But just expect a lot of frustration up front. Shane Christensen on YouTube says, that music from the cup photo shoot was actually quite uplifting. Thank you. Zagabog, word of the day was Joker. Well, that's something a Joker would say. Sometimes I'm much more of an amalgam of the people I've known than you might think. There's all kinds of weird things that come out of my mouth that actually came out of other people's mouths first. I am an appropriator of cultures, but our culture is gratitude. Tell me in the comments what you're grateful for. Tell me what small joys you're experiencing and are uplifting your day today. We got to keep our eyes on the prize. Grind set. Let me know in the comments. Probably give you a heart, probably give you an upvote. We drop them every day. You know we do. Peace out.